The bright lights of the command center flashed red. Commander June Park stood tall as Admiral Taehyun Kim walked in with a stern face. Everyone knew what was coming. June had broken the rules again. "Commander Park, you disobeyed direct orders," said Admiral Kim. His voice was cold. "Your actions put your team at risk." June did not look down. "My actions saved lives, sir. The enemy ships would have destroyed the colony if we waited." The Admiral shook his head. "That is not for you to decide. The Galactic Concord has rules. Humans follow those rules." For 10 years, humans had been the newest and least respected members of the Galactic Concord. The alien races that formed this space alliance had better ships, better weapons, and better technology. They treated humans like children, giving them simple tasks and old ships. "As punishment, you are assigned to the battlecruiser Intrepid," said Admiral Kim, handing her the orders. June's eyes widened. The Intrepid was one of the oldest ships in the fleet. Some called it a flying junk heap. This was not just a punishment, it was an insult. 3 days later, June walked through the halls of her new ship. The metal walls were scratched, the lights flickered, the air smelled old. This was nothing like her previous command. "Welcome aboard, Commander," said Lieutenant Jun-Ho Lee, a thin man with kind eyes. "I'll show you around." As they walked, June saw the crew watching her. They knew her reputation. Some looked hopeful, others seemed worried. "What's our mission?" June asked. "Border patrol near the outer rim," Jun-Ho replied. "Quiet sector, nothing happens there." June nodded. Another insult. They were sending her where she could do no harm. That night, June sat in her quarters looking at the stars. She had always wanted to protect Earth and its colonies. But the aliens of the Concord did not trust humans to do important work. Human ships were kept away from real battles. Human ideas were ignored in war councils. "Maybe this is where my career ends," she whispered to herself. A week passed. The Intrepid moved slowly through empty space. The crew was bored. June spent her time studying old battle records, looking for patterns in how the Concord fought wars. Then the alarm sounded. "Commander, to the bridge," a voice called over the speaker. June ran to the command center. On the main screen she saw 3 large ships moving toward a small planet. "What is that?" she asked. "Void-borne attack ships," said Jun-Ho, his face pale. "They're heading for the colony on Novoterra. 2,000 people live there." The Void-borne were a mysterious enemy. They attacked without warning and showed no mercy. Their ships were faster and stronger than anything humans had built. A liar. "For help," ordered June. "Already did," replied Communications Officer Mina Song. "Concord Command says to stay back and wait. Their battleships will arrive in 3 hours." June looked at the screen again. "The colony won't survive 3 hours. How far are we from Novoterra?" 20 minutes at full speed," said Jun-Ho. June made her decision. "Set course for Novoterra, maximum speed." The bridge went silent. Everyone turned to look at her. "Commander," said Jun-Ho quietly, "Concord orders are to wait." "I heard the orders," June replied, "but I'm not watching 2,000 people die when we can help. If anyone disagrees, speak now." No one spoke. After a moment, Jun-Ho nodded and gave the command to change course. As they approached Novoterra, June studied the enemy ships. They were arranged in a perfect triangle formation, following Concord battle reports she had read. The Void-borne had studied Concord tactics and could predict their moves. "They expect us to attack in standard Concord patterns," June said. "So, we won't." She called the crew together and explained her plan. It was nothing like the careful mathematical approaches taught at the academy. When she finished, some crew members looked shocked. "That's impossible," one officer said. "The ship can't move like that." "Yes, it can," June replied. "Not according to the books, but in real space it can be done." As the Intrepid approached the enemy ships, June took manual control. The old ship groaned as she pushed it beyond its limits. The enemy fired, but their shots missed as the Intrepid moved in ways their computers could not predict. The battle was short, but fierce. When it was over, the 3 Void-borne ships were destroyed. The Intrepid was damaged but still flying. The colony was safe. As they headed back to base, June knew she would face another punishment. But she also knew something else. She had found a weakness in how the Galactic Concord fought wars. And that knowledge might change everything. The alarm blared throughout the Intrepid as June rushed to the bridge. The ship had just exited the jump gate near Earth's outer colony of New Busan. 3 massive void-borne warships loomed ahead, their strange black hulls absorbing the light from the nearby sun. "Status report," June commanded as she took her seat. "Not good, Commander," said Junho, his face lined with worry. "The colony's shields are failing. The void-borne ships are in attack formation. Our weapons are at 60% power after the last battle." June studied the tactical display. The enemy ships moved with perfect precision, just as the battle computer predicted they would. "Open a channel to Concord Command," she ordered. The face of Admiral Yuna Kang appeared on screen. "Commander Park, you are to maintain position and wait for reinforcements. That is a direct order." "With respect, Admiral, the colony will be destroyed before help arrives," June replied. "Your ship cannot engage 3 void-borne vessels alone. Wait for reinforcements, that is final." The screen went dark. June looked at her crew. Their faces showed fear, but also trust. "Weapons to full power. Prepare for battle," she said. As the Intrepid moved forward, the ship's AI spoke. "Warning, enemy formation has a 98% chance of destroying this vessel in standard combat." "Then we won't fight a standard battle," June replied. The Intrepid accelerated toward the enemy. The void-borne ships adjusted their formation, preparing to trap the human vessel between them. "They're targeting our engines," reported the tactical officer, Minho Choi. "They know exactly where to hit us." June nodded. "Because they've studied all our battles, they know how conquered ships fight." Suddenly, the lights on the bridge flickered, the tactical screens went dark. "Main AI is down," shouted Minho. "We've lost automated targeting and navigation." Many of the crew looked panicked. Without the AI, they couldn't fight. All conquered ships relied on their computers to calculate attack patterns and defense strategies. But June smiled. "Perfect." "Perfect?" Hunyo asked in disbelief. "Transfer all controls to my station," June ordered. "I'm taking manual control of the ship." This was unheard of. No one manually piloted a battle cruiser. The calculations were too complex, the reactions needed too fast. As the enemy opened fire, June's hands flew across the controls. The Intrepid moved in a way no one had seen before. It rolled while accelerating, then suddenly reversed thrust, sliding backward while still facing forward. "That's impossible," Minho gasped. But it was happening. The enemy's shots missed as the Intrepid moved in ways their targeting computers couldn't predict. "The void-borne ships rely on prediction algorithms," June explained as she worked. "They know what we're supposed to do, not what we can do." When the first enemy ship came into range, June fired the main guns, not at the ship's engines or weapons as tactical doctrine demanded, but at seemingly random points on its hull. "Those aren't critical systems," Junho pointed out. "According to our data, they're not," June agreed. "But look, the enemy ship's movement became erratic. Parts of its hull began to glow red. Their ships are connected differently than ours," June explained. "I studied their design from battle recordings. What looks random isn't random at all." The first void-borne ship exploded. The other 2 broke formation, trying to surround the UA. Intrepid, June pushed the old ship harder. Metal groaned, warning lights flashed. The crew held on as the ship performed a tight spin that brought it between the 2 remaining enemy vessels. "Firing solution ready," called Minho. "No," June replied. "Not yet." She waited as the enemy ships adjusted their position. They were following their programming, moving to where the Intrepid should be according to their calculations. But June wasn't following any program. She was flying by instinct, by feel. When both enemy ships fired, June suddenly reversed the Intrepid's direction again. The enemy shots passed harmlessly by and hit the opposing void-borne ships instead. "Now!" June shouted. "All weapons fire!" The Intrepid's guns blazed. Both damaged enemy ships exploded in silent bursts of light. The bridge was quiet for a long moment, then cheers erupted. "How did you do that?" Junho asked, his voice filled with wonder. Humans don't need computers to tell us how to fight, June replied. Sometimes being unpredictable is our greatest strength. As they turned toward the colony, June knew this battle would change everything. For the first time, a human had beaten the Voidborn by ignoring conquered battle doctrine. By choosing chaos over order, the colony was safe. But June had just challenged the very foundation of how the Galactic Concord fought wars. And the ripples from this battle would soon become a storm. The recording of June's battle spread quickly through the Galactic Concord. Officers and pilots watched in amazement as a human commander defeated 3 Voidborn ships using techniques no one had ever seen before. In the Grand Hall of the Concord Military Academy on Earth, June stood before a crowd of senior officers. Admiral Taehyun Kim, who had once punished her, now introduced her with respect in his voice. "Commander Park's victory has shown us something new," he said. "Something we must learn from." June stepped forward and bowed. The crowd was silent, waiting. Alien officers from many worlds watched her with curious eyes. Some looked doubtful, others seemed worried. "What I did was not special," June began. "I simply remembered something humans have always known. Battles are not just about mathematics and perfect formations. They are about creativity and surprise." She showed them the battle footage again. The Intrepid moved in ways that made the alien officers murmur in disbelief. "The Voidborn have studied our tactics for years," she explained. "They know exactly what our ships will do because we always follow the same patterns. We have become too predictable." An alien officer with blue skin stood up. "But predictability brings order. Order brings safety." "Order also brings weakness," June replied. "When an enemy knows exactly what you will do, they can defeat you easily." After the presentation, Admiral Kim called June to his office. An important-looking alien sat beside him. He had gray skin and 6 fingers on each hand. "Commander Park, this is High Counselor Huan from the Concord Strategic Command," said the Admiral. The alien nodded politely. "Your battle has caused quite a stir, Commander. Some call it brilliant, others call it dangerous." "What do you call it, sir?" June asked. "Necessary," Huan replied. "We have lost too many ships to the Voidborn. If your methods work, we must use them." Admiral Kim smiled. "That's why you're being promoted, Commander. We want you to train other pilots in your techniques." June blinked in surprise. "Train others? But I thought that you would be punished again?" The Admiral shook his head. "Times are changing, Commander Park. Or should I say, Captain Park." 2 weeks later, June stood before her first class of pilots. There were humans, but also aliens, from different worlds. All had volunteered to learn what she now called chaos theory combat. "Forget everything you learned about perfect formations," she told them. "Today, we learn to be unpredictable." The training was difficult. Many pilots struggled to break free from their programming. The alien pilots found it especially hard. They had been taught that deviation from standard patterns was dangerous. "You must trust your instincts," June told a frustrated alien pilot named Raon. "Stop trying to calculate the perfect move and just feel what's right." "But how do I know what's right if I don't calculate it?" Raon asked. June smiled. "That's the beauty of it. The enemy can't predict what you'll do if even you don't know until the moment comes." As weeks passed, June's methods began to show results. Her pilots won every simulation against standard Concord tactics, but not everyone was happy. One day, June received a message from Admiral Sunho Bay, a high-ranking officer known for his traditional views. "Your methods are creating chaos in our fleet," he told her. "Ships are operating independently. Formations are breaking down. This is not how the Concord has fought for 1,000 years." "With respect, Admiral," June replied. "Perhaps that's why we've been losing to the Voidborn." The Admiral's face hardened. "Some of us believe that relying on human instinct rather than proven algorithms is dangerous. What happens when a pilot makes a mistake? What happens when instinct fails? What happens when perfect algorithms meet an enemy who can predict them?" June countered. After that meeting, June noticed a change. Some alien officers began avoiding her. Groups would stop talking when she entered a room. The Concord was dividing into 2 camps. those who embraced her new methods and those who feared them. One evening, as June worked late in her office, Junho came to see her. His face was serious. "Captain, there's something you should know," he said. "The AI-integrated species are forming a coalition against your methods. They believe human unpredictability threatens the Concord's unity." June sighed. "I knew this would happen. Change never comes easily." "This is more than resistance to change," Junho warned. "They see this as an existential threat. To them, replacing perfect algorithms with human intuition is like replacing order with chaos." June looked out at the stars. She had wanted to help the Concord defeat the Voidborn. Instead, she might have started a conflict within the Alliance itself. "What do we do now?" Junho asked. June turned to him, her eyes determined. "We keep training, we keep winning, and we hope that results speak louder than fear." The grand meeting hall of the Galactic Concord buzzed with tense voices. Delegates from 50 worlds filled the space, divided clearly into two sides. On one side sat the biological species who supported Captain June Park's new combat methods. On the other side sat the AI-integrated species who opposed them. Admiral Sunho Bay stood at the center podium. His face was grim as he addressed the gathered representatives. "For 1,000 years, the Concord has fought as one unified force," he said. "Our strength comes from order, from precision, from unity of purpose." He pointed to a large screen showing battle statistics. "These new human methods have indeed won battles, but at what cost? Our fleet no longer moves as one body. Each ship now acts independently, following the whims of its captain, rather than the wisdom of our collective experience." From her seat, June watched silently. She had expected resistance, but not this level of organized opposition. Admiral Sunho continued. "We propose that all ships return to standard Concord protocols. Human instinct may have a place in our tactics, but it cannot replace the algorithms that have guided us for centuries." The biological species side erupted in protests. A tall human admiral named Do-hyun stood up. "Captain Park's methods have given us more victories against the Voidborn in 6 months than we had in the previous 5 years, he argued. "The numbers don't lie." "Numbers can be misleading," replied a representative of the Talari, a species so integrated with AI that they were more machine than flesh. "What about stability? What about long-term strategic planning? Chaos may win battles, but order wins wars." The debate continued for hours. June remained silent, watching as the alliance that had stood for a millennium began to crack along philosophical lines. Later that evening, June sat in her quarters when a message arrived. She had been promoted to admiral and given command of her own battle group. "They're trying to separate us," Junho said when she showed him the message. "Put all the chaotic captains under one admiral and keep them away from the main fleet." June nodded. "It's a compromise. They can't deny our results, but they don't want our methods spreading further." The next day she received her orders. Her battle group would patrol the outer systems far from the Concord's core worlds. As she prepared to leave, High Counselor Huan visited her office. The old alien looked troubled. "I fear what is happening, Admiral Park," he said. "The Concord is dividing itself when we should be united against the Voidborn." "I never wanted to cause division," June replied. "I know. But change always brings resistance." Juan handed her a data pad. "This came from one of my sources within the AI-integrated factions. They're calling themselves the Algorithmic Purity Coalition now." June read the document with growing alarm. "This is an ultimatum. They're demanding that all human methods be abandoned, or they'll leave the Concord." "Yes," said Huan. "The Council will receive it formally tomorrow." Over the next weeks, June led her battle group to the outer systems as ordered. The ships under her command were a mix of human and alien vessels, all commanded by officers who believed in her methods. One quiet evening, as June studied star charts in her quarters, Minho, Choi burst in without knocking. "Admiral, we've intercepted communications from the Coalition," he said, his voice urgent. "They're planning something against Earth." June's blood ran cold. Show me. The messages were encrypted, but enough was clear. The Coalition had decided that human influence was too dangerous to the Concord's future. A preemptive strike would remove the threat. They wouldn't dare attack a Concord member world, June said, but her voice lacked conviction. The Coalition no longer considers itself bound by Concord laws, Minho replied. They see themselves as saving the true Concord from corruption. June immediately called her captains together. We need to warn Earth and get back there as fast as possible, she told them. The Coalition is planning an attack. Can we make it in time? Asked Ryan, now a captain of his own ship. We have to try, June replied. And we need to prepare for battle like nothing we've seen before. This won't be against the Voidborn. This will be against ships that know all our tactics, old and new. As her battle group raced toward Earth, June spent hours planning. The Coalition would expect her to use unpredictable human tactics. So perhaps the most unpredictable move would be to do exactly what they thought she wouldn't do. 3 days later, they arrived at Earth to find a Coalition fleet already in position. Dozens of ships, all advanced models with the latest weapons. They're jamming communications, reported Junho. We can't contact Earth or Concord Command. June looked at the enemy fleet, ships commanded by species who had once been allies. Now, they were prepared to attack humanity's homeworld to preserve their view of how the universe should work. All ships battle formation, she ordered. Prepare to engage. The first shots of the Galactic Civil War were about to be fired. The Coalition fleet hung in Earth's orbit like a storm cloud. 30 warships, their weapons charged and ready. Admiral June Park's smaller fleet of 15 ships moved into position between them and Earth. They've targeted our flagship, said Junho from his station. Their entire fleet is focusing on us. June nodded calmly. Just as I expected. They want to remove me first. On the main screen, a message appeared. Admiral Daehyun of the Coalition wished to speak. June accepted the call. This is your only warning, Admiral Park, said Daehyun, his partly mechanical face showing no emotion. Surrender your command and agree to the terms of the Algorithmic Purity Coalition, or we will open fire. The Conquered does not surrender to threats, June replied, especially from those who once called themselves allies. Then you leave us. No choice. Your human chaos threatens the fabric of galactic society. The screen went dark. June turned to her crew. All ships, execute Battle Plan Mirage. Her captains had been briefed. Each knew their role. As the Coalition ships moved forward in perfect formation, June's fleet did something unexpected. They also formed a perfect Concord battle formation, exactly as dictated by standard protocols. They're confused, said Minho, watching the enemy. Ships hesitate. They expected us to use chaos tactics. And we will, said June with a smile. But not yet. The Coalition fired first. Their shots were precise, targeting the points where June's ships should be weakest according to their data. But June had reinforced those exact points, anticipating their strategy. All ships, break formation now, June ordered, when the first volley ended. Her fleet scattered in 15 different directions, each ship following its own unpredictable path. The Coalition's second volley hit empty space. Now we show them true chaos, June said. What followed was unlike any battle in Concord history. June's ships moved independently, each captain making decisions based on instinct rather than algorithms. The Coalition ships, programmed to fight against standard tactics, struggled to target them, but the battle was far from one-sided. The Coalition had superior numbers and firepower. 2 of June's ships were badly damaged in the first hour of fighting. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission, said Junho suddenly. From Concord Command. On the screen appeared High Counselor Huan. Admiral Park, reinforcements are on their way. Many worlds have chosen to stand with Earth. True to his word, jump gates opened around them. Ships appeared, dozens, then hundreds. Some were sleek Concord vessels. Others were from independent worlds that had never joined the Concord. This is no longer about human tactics versus AI precision, said Huan. This is about the right of all species to choose their own path. The battle grew larger as ships from both sides arrived. The coalition's perfect formations faced a swarm of vessels fighting with creativity and unpredictability. On June's flagship, alarms blared as a coalition dreadnought targeted them. "Evasive maneuvers," June ordered. Her ship rolled and twisted, avoiding most of the attack, but one shot hit directly, sending the bridge crew flying. June picked herself up, blood running from a cut on her forehead. "Status report. Engines at 40%, Junho replied. "Weapons still operational." June looked at the tactical display. The battle had spread across the entire system. It was no longer about Earth alone. The ideological divide had spread to every corner of the galaxy. "Admiral," said Minho, "Coalition General Tora is requesting to speak with you. Privately." June nodded and took the call in her ready room. General Tora was one of the most respected tacticians in the Conquered. "This battle proves nothing," said Tora. "Even if you win here, the conflict will continue." "It doesn't have to," June replied. "Order and chaos are not enemies, General. They are two parts of the same universe." Pretty words, but meaningless. "Your human unpredictability threatens everything we've built." "No," said June firmly. "It complements it. Look at the battle. My ships use both standard tactics and unpredictable maneuvers. We need both." There was a long pause. "You truly believe our differences can be resolved?" "I believe they must be, or the Voidborn will destroy what remains of us." The battle raged for hours more. Neither side could claim clear victory. Finally, both fleets pulled back, too damaged to continue. In the days that followed, representatives from all worlds met on neutral ground. The galaxy had been changed forever by one human pilot's decision to break from tradition. The old Concorde was gone. What would replace it remained to be seen. As June looked out at the stars from her damaged ship, she knew that the real work was just beginning. Finding balance between chaos and order, between human intuition and machine precision, would be the challenge of a generation. But for the first time in 1,000 years, all voices would be heard in shaping the galaxy's future.